Hello all, welcome to Hidden Gems with me, Natasha Parker. I have missed you guys. We recorded a bunch of episodes before I went on my adventures, my travels to Europe, and now we are back in studio. So I've missed you guys, and I want to thank you for all of your feedback and messages and just things of encouragement and all that good stuff. We love it. This is our safe space. This is where we go to be ourselves, to learn, to grow, to be happy. Hopefully I make you happy. Right. So Paris travels. Why did I go to Europe? I went to Europe because I had a wedding of two lovely friends that they were having in Lake Como. So I fly to Milan, and then I go to Como, which is about an hour and a half away. And there's 3 days of wedding bliss. It was a small wedding. And after going to that wedding, I'm kind of like, this is where it's at. I don't remember exactly how many people were there. Maybe 70 people, 75 people, something like that. But I'm like, wow, over 3 days, I feel like I talked to people that I didn't know. Now, I will say I had a big chunk of friends. This is my New York friends. So I knew a big chunk of people that were already there. So it was just like partying with your friends already. And these two people just have amazing people in their life. So we had a great time. It was 3 days of just love in the air. So it was great. And then after that, I ended up going to Paris because I had a birthday party in the south of France. And that birthday party, let me tell you, I basically joined a cult. I'm kidding. I did not join a cult. But this hat that I'm wearing, if you guys are YouTubers and you're watching our YouTube channel, the hat that I'm wearing, it says AD 30, Alexandra Dodge 30, because my friend turned 30 and she had about 30 friends come to stay with her in the south of France, and we celebrated, and it was amazing, and it was such a good time. Again, big group of people, but like small group, relatively small. Got to hang out with everyone over 4 or 5 days. Really got to enjoy the energy around us, who we are, and the people who we decide to bring into our life. Our chosen family, as I like to call it, is so important. And I think as we go through things, like the gym that I found in like these travels, no one has to understand why someone's in your life, because that is for you to understand and that person to understand. I know, not everyone meshes with everyone, and like even at the wedding, like if there's like drama or this or that, like that's not for me to be concerned with, consumed with, or anything, and for anyone else. We're all on this personal life journey solo. It's kind of morbid, but an ex of mine said to me, we come into the world alone and you leave alone. And that's like a common thing that people say. Well, I think to expand on that and make it more like, spiritual in my own way, we're all on these solo life journeys. And why someone comes into my life to help me grow, be it to hurt me and then I see the lesson in it and then to help me grow, or someone to light my life up and make me so happy, again, to help me grow, is for me and me alone. So there's no reason to question why someone decides or chooses certain people. I think that as friends, we want the best for our friends. We want them to marry the best guy or girl. We want them to, he, she, they, anyone, we want them to be with the best person that we think. But just because I think someone's better for someone doesn't mean that they need that, because they're living their own personal journey. So I say that in hindsight too for myself. I don't explain why anyone's in my life. They are who they are, and we've met for a reason, season, or a lifetime. So take that as you will. That's my little gem for the collections of people that I've met. You don't have to mess with everybody, but you do have to understand that that might not be for you, but it's really good for someone else. So, I'm just saying that to say that. okay, so we're in the south of France. Amazing, great time. Fun activities, all the things. We had a really, really good time. My friend who turned 30, I think she had the best time ever. Unforgettable, rememberable. She'll never forget her 30th birthday. So as I wear this hat, this is for you, my love, Alexandra. Love you, girl. And we had fun. Then after the south of France, I go back to Paris. So Paris is my happy place. It is a place of clarity. Every time I go to Paris and spend an extended amount of time there, I rented an apartment there once upon a time for a month. And I was there for maybe 6 weeks, but I have great friends there. It's such a magical place to me. The architecture, walking around, it's such a walkable city. It's huge, obviously, but very walkable city. Beautiful place to get lost in. The best place to get lost in my opinion. And walking, listening to podcasts, listening to music, just getting lost. Maybe sometimes not, just my phone died. Oh, well, how am I going to get home? Okay, let me figure it out. Sitting at a cafe, being this is cute. Let me get a coffee or a spritz or an Aperol, whatever. For some reason, I always find so much clarity in that city. So I was dating a man. I kind of posted about this on my Instagram a little bit, but I was dating a man and it was so unexpected. And we liked him. We liked him a lot. But then we stopped dating right before I left. Now, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the fact that I was going to be gone for 3 to 4 weeks. Or, he was also traveling for work. I don't really know. But we stopped dating. And so I went on my travels solo, which in hindsight, good, because obviously we met men and we had fun. Parisian men are romantic. Well, some of them. The ones that I met. Lots of romantic times and fun times with them. But I was kind of in a place of I don't understand. I don't get this. I don't understand what happened. So this person has a life coach. So basically I'll tell you guys the gist of what happened. We have a few great days together. Then he calls me kind of in a panic, hey, he doesn't live here. He's hey, I don't want to move to New York. I don't know what I'm doing. All just basically spewing out all these reasons why things won't work between us after we just had a great couple of days together. I was oh, wow, where's this coming from? He's well, I talked to my life coach and my life coach said, blah, 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 blah. And I was this person called his life coach to talk about us, gather all these points, and instead of having a conversation with me about our relationship, he came to me with points, facts, whatever you want to call it, and was okay, yeah, that's it. And I was so we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to have a conversation about this. I never said you should move to New York. I never, but it was just no conversation. I was so basically you had the conversation you're supposed to have with me with your life coach, and now this is over. Got it. Real mature, sir. So that really didn't sit well with me. And I was why am I not okay with this? Because I am a firm believer. Again, I say it all the time. I don't want to be with nobody that don't want to be with me. That's just period. I don't chase. I don't handcuff. We don't do any of those things. We are happy. We are secure. We are good in ourselves. We know what we bring to the table. We don't have to beg, scream, holler, hoot and whatever for someone to stay into our life. And let's be honest. There are men waiting for someone to fuck up always. So, anyways, I just couldn't understand why I couldn't get over it. So, I go to Paris and then Paris clarity comes. And there was a book that I read, and the book talks about visualizing your life and what you see for your life. As a wife, as a mom, how you kind of want to be, and kind of picturing it. And that's also how you manifest and draw things into your life. Yes, we should be present. Yes, we love being present. But sometimes there's there's actually a visualization meditation where you actually close your eyes and you visualize you living, breathing, having the things that you want. So I talked to my therapist once upon a time about this, and she says, like, you know, what would your husband do? Like, in your mind, you marry a guy, has these types of qualities, how would he treat you? And we would always go back to that. You know, there's a guy who you're dating and he doesn't call you back, or maybe it's a guy you want to date and he's not calling you back. He's not setting up dates. He's not doing this. Your husband would set up dates. Your husband will call you back. Why are we doing this? So call me Delulu, you know, let me know what you guys think. But I always come back to that mindset. What will my husband do? Well, knowing that I would love to be with a man, knowing that the man that I decide to have nuptials with is going to be a spiritual being, I was like, you know, there is, you guys know I'm so pro therapy, and I'm so, you know, life coach therapy, whatever it is that you decide you want to have in your life that's going to help you, this like voice of reason or whatever it is that is going to kind of give you that clarity. I am so for that. But the person who I end up with is going to have a certain connection with me that we have to get through and talk through the things that we need. And it won't be a third party that we're having that conversation with. It will be each other. And if you're really lost, obviously getting the opinions and insights of professionals is amazing. But God, and having that spiritual compass of like, this is who I have to go to. I have to ask God what the right thing is, and then make my decision accordingly. Because impulsively, we do a lot of things that maybe we shouldn't. But when we bring our real hopes, dreams, concerns to God, I really do think that clarity comes. And that's exactly what I did. So I got back to that. Oh my God, what will my husband do? Well, in my mind, again, call me Delulu if you want to, but in my mind, he would have said, hey, I'm feeling weird about X, Y, and Z. Can we talk about what a future would look like between the two of you? Like a real honest, what I would need, what you would need in order for this to possibly work for us. This is my reality. This is your reality. What do you see happening? Opposed to the reality of his reality, which is he travels way too much. And I only say way too much in the sense of, if you're ready to have a family and be a husband and blah, 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 but you're trying to keep your travels and your work separate from the person you're with, might be a little hard. I don't know. Might be hard. For what it is, if you say you're trying to build this close, tight-knit family. That's just my opinion. But that's neither here or there. No one's perfect. And working through things. And the truth is just the clarity that I got of, you know, from being there and going on walks and crying and breaking down and being like, oh my God. I was like, you know what? My husband, the person that I'm with, we are going to talk through things and we're going to get through things. So if this person didn't want to talk through this and get through this, it's not my person, period. That's it. That's all. And maybe he was just like, yeah, I don't want to be with her. She's fucking annoying. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the reasoning why, you know, maybe there is no like bigger whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I always say this. They be coming back, y'all. And this is the second time this man has come back. Now, do we let them have a third time? I don't know, probably not. But the clarity that I needed happened. And the first time I went to Paris, I was also looking for clarity. And the clarity that I was looking for, then I was like, you know, God, maybe I'm just asking for too much. Maybe what I want is just too much. Maybe I just can't find it. I'm never going to find it because it's too much of what I'm looking for. They're like, what's your love language? All of them. All 5. I need all of them. Show me you care in all the ways. I know. It's a lot, but whatever. So the clarity that I got on that trip, there was a man that I met, and again, not my person, but if I told you 4 to 10 things that I was like, I love when guys do this. I love when guys do this. I love when guys, you know, blah, 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 blah. I met this man, and in the course of one night, he did all of them. He did them. Like, it was like nothing. Like, I didn't tell him what I wanted, or I was just like, do. And he just did it. Something that is like a real green flag for me is when I'm with a friend and a guy like takes care of my friend, like they would take care of me. Like, you know, sometimes you'll go out and a guy's like, what do you want to drink? And I've been out, like, I'm with a girlfriend, not like, it's different if you're with like 10 girls. I get it. But you're with a girlfriend and a guy's trying to buy you a drink and he's just like, no, what you want to drink? Who's this girl? I'm like, really? You know, like, we're ladies. Like, you're going to buy me a drink? It'd be nice if you bought her one too. Right? Because I'm not the person to just like ditch a friend for a guy when I go out or whatever. That's not how I am. No shade if that's how you are, whatever. Everybody's motives are different, but that's just not mine. So a big green flag is when a guy is, attentive towards myself and a girlfriend. I really, really love that. And my brothers were raised that way. And like, that's how I was raised. And it's not just one person, you know, it's everyone, you know, this is our vibe. If I'm with someone and I like you, I'm going to treat them the same way. So at one point we were out and there was like a bucket of water and he like goes and opens the water, gives it to me and my girlfriend's standing there. And then he goes and grabs another water and I'm just looking at him and I'm like, if he gives that water to my friend, I might marry him. But like, I know it's such a simple thing, but it's true when they say it's very much a, like, it's the little things. It's 100% the little things that matter. So, you know, and he takes the water and he gives it to my friend. I was like, oh my God. I like in my head, obviously I didn't like make a big deal about it, but in my head, I was just like, wow, this guy is like he pays attention. It's really cute. It's really sweet. So yeah, that was just one of the things, but all the things. So I was having these conversations with God and then boom, Paris, random night, meet a guy, walks up to me. Hey, how are you? What are you doing? You know, it was a good time, but again, not my person, lives somewhere very far and it is what it is. But there's these little moments and, you know, I had my guest on, Kamara, the makeup artist, and she said, God winks. And it's like these little moments where you can psych yourself out and think that what you want is too much. What you're looking for doesn't exist. You know, after working on yourself and, you know, not tolerating certain behaviors or things or fighting for things that maybe you shouldn't have or maybe it isn't good for you. And surrendering to the process and surrendering to just good vibes, good energy. Like, I'm like, I don't have drama for real in my life, hardly ever. And if I do, it's over real quick. You know, we nip it in the bud. We don't have time for that. But when I do think about it, I'm like, if someone exits, it gets you closer to where you need to be sooner. So, for anyone who is listening to this and you had like a recent breakup and listen, we didn't even date that long. You know, in hindsight, it's like, it's not like I'm devastated. I'm not. It was, you know, I'm dramatic. So it was devastating for like a week. I was like, I can't deal. But then we got over it. You know, we got to Paris. We heard a French accent from like one man and we were like, who? I'm kidding. I am kidding. Okay. So Paris provides clarity. So I want to say that like overall traveling can really be the medicine that you need. I stayed in New York. Well, I didn't travel abroad for a whole year. And then I went to Europe for, 6 weeks or whatever. I would go and visit my parents and like see my family and stuff like that domestically all last year, but I didn't really go on a trip. And like there's the clarity and the mindset, because when you think about it, when you're at home and you're sifting through things, like I'm like, I got to do laundry. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like there's like always there's a leak in my apartment. There's always 1,000 things going on. Oh, and then you have your obligations to your friends and your social things. Like I know so many people in New York. Oh, this person's having a birthday. This person's doing this. You know, all these things. But when you go away on your travel, on your solo travel, and you know what, there is actually an influencer that I follow that I'm dying to have on the podcast. She's a content creator and she travels and she's like a travel creator and she travels solo all the time. Dying to have her on. Girl, come on my podcast. Eventually she will. But just that solo travel, or you know, and I was with friends the whole time that I was away. I was like bopping around to like where different friends were, and then I went to Paris and I stayed with my friend Domi, and we just had the best time, dinners and things like that, all around the city. We were there during Fête de la Musique. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Fête de la Musique. Well, it's a day where all around Paris, people are dancing, live music, DJs all around, super fun. K-Tronada played like at Montmartre, like sick. So it's a really beautiful time in Paris. Also, Fashion Week happened, and the craziest situation happened to me. I literally walked in a Paris couture Fashion Week show. Pete, it was like, I love you so much for trusting me with your clothes and your vision. And it was the first time that I had ever walked in a couture show. It was fantastic. It was so Paris. It was so just a dream come true, like literally bucket list stuff that you're like, oh, that'd be fun to do one day that you never think you're actually going to do. And just the vibes and seeing the behind the scenes and seeing how, you know, everything is curated and the hair, the makeup. And I mean, the little tiffs that was going on, the people that were like, I don't want my hair like this or whatever. Like, you know, it was a lot of preparation. And when we see these things, and like, you know, fashion is art, and it's always been a great artistic outlet for me. And I, you know, love to like put things together, and, you know, being a fashion content creator as well, it's like so fun to dress up, and, you know, I call it my transformation. But it was just one of those things that I was supposed to leave Paris, and I ended up staying longer. And it was like, the universe was like, oh no, you should probably stay. And I just felt like not ready to leave yet. And then 2 days later at 11 p.m., I'm at dinner with a man, and we're on a date. And he's like, oh, are we going to have like a night? Like, are we going to have a night tonight? And I was like, I don't know. Like, someone reached out to me about this show. Like, I might have to work tomorrow. Like, I don't really know. I might get booked for this show. 11 p.m. comes around and I get booked for the show. And I'm like, oh, I got to go home. I got to put eye mask on. I got to do this. And my face was breaking out so bad because I think I was eating way too much chocolate. I would like wake up in the morning and have like this little biscuit with chocolate and coffee. That was like my breakfast when I was in my Parisian breakfast, or a croissant. But my face was breaking out so crazy. And I was just like, of course this happens during this time. But it was beautiful. It was amazing. I loved it. You know, you are their canvas. And I'm like, the makeup girl's doing my makeup. I'm like, can we put a little more makeup on? Because like, you know, but you have to just surrender to the process. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. Let me just surrender to this process, and just what it is what it is. I was like working on my walk. I met the most amazing ladies, Gia and Elle. You guys are so great. And it was a friend, Emily, who's the one who like did this whole thing. So, you know, really cultivating a community of people and showing up for people. And I'm the youngest of 6, so I always say, like, there's not a selfish bone in my body. I am selfish when it comes to, like, you know, I need to go to yoga. Nothing's going to stop me from going to yoga. Or I'm not feeling good today. Nothing's going to get me out of my house. You know, I need my time to, like, reset and retreat when I need it. But I am such a giver, and I give so much, and I never feel like, oh, I'm going to give to receive, because it just deposits in the giving bank to the universe, to God. God sees me. God knows me. He knows my heart. So then I get it back always in some way. Maybe not from that person that I helped or whatever, but some way it always comes back. So I'm always preaching the giving, the giving, the giving. And if you really want to search for meaning in life, I read this before. It's like, if you're really searching for meaning in life, and you're kind of like, don't know what to do, try volunteering, try giving, try going somewhere where you can actually be of service and help to people. And I try to do that to all my peeps in my life. And when you do that and you give a lot of your energy to people, you do need to retreat. You do need to, balance those chakras back out, and also have some time to recharge. So that's why when it comes to that, my recharge buttons, I got to do that for myself in order to, show up as my authentic self for other people. So gems, honey. Gems. Oh, so I want to say that if you're thinking about booking the trip, go. Number one, because I love traveling so much, I never understood people who always went to the same place all the time. But now, after going to Paris so many times, I've realized that, like, sometimes that place is calling you for a reason. That's your place. I do think that sometimes places can reject you, and then you say, like, okay, this is not my place. Like, I went to Mykonos once, and I did not have a great experience one day. It was like we were there for 4 days or 5 days, and, like, most of the time was great. But then something happened, and I was like, oh, I think Mykonos is rejecting me. And they say that about Bali, actually. A friend of mine told me that this Bali can receive you with open arms, or it can, it can reject you. And I believe that because just because we want to be somewhere doesn't mean that that's the path on where we should go. So if you're ever thinking about a decision of what you should do, are we going uphill or are we going downhill? Does it feel like fate, or does it feel like we keep pushing and pushing along? Obviously, that's not the case when you're building something, building business, building a relationship. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, things like that. But I'm just saying, on your own personal journey, when you're like, I really, really want this thing, people are like, I really, really want to be with this guy. Or do you really, really want love in your life? Because if you really, really want love in your life, maybe this ain't the guy to give it to you, And so maybe that's what we need to focus on, the love in our life versus, they're like, I really, really want this job. Or do you just want more money? Or do you want something that's more fulfilling? So maybe you need to work on what's going to fulfill you, or what's going to bring you more money and that feeling versus this particular position. So I think that, like, taking the moment or the thing that we want and pulling it back and saying, no, what's the feeling behind that? It was the same thing that I did when I was looking for clarity. It's like, why am I so mad that this person, called me with these facts and then was like, I'm out? I was like, oh no, actually, it's not that I feel rejected. I feel like he didn't give me an opportunity. He didn't give us an opportunity to work through it. Oh, because you want to be with someone that you work through things with, not someone who's just going to be like, this what it is, period. I said, oh, okay. So take that as you will. Now, The Bachelor. Let's talk about that for a second. The Bachelor comes out. When this episode comes out, the second episode of Bachelorette would have aired. I did watch the first episode, and I am going to watch Jen's season because she is the first Asian Bachelorette, go off queen, and it's about damn time. But I like her. She seems fun. She seems excited. She seems like she also has a little little wild side. When she had that whole makeout sesh with I can't remember all the men's names, but when she had that makeout sesh with that man who got the first impression rose, I said, can we get a room? Can we get a room for them? Because wow, it was hot. And like, I don't know. And here's the thing on the show, like, they don't always show every single kiss or this or that, but they made it seem like the first impression rose guy was the first kiss. I don't know if that's the case. Sometimes they, are doing that for the show. I don't know. But if it is the case, go off. It was worth the wait. And I love some of the limo entrances. I thought that the guy who came disguised, like in the with the face thing. I thought that was so genius, because how do you not think about him the whole time? Like, I wonder what he looks like. I wonder what he looks like. I wonder what he looks like. That was genius. That was great. I don't know that I'm going to talk about the whole entire season on the pod, but I feel like I should just give like hot takes on certain things. And that's what we kind of want to implement new into these solo episodes, and maybe even in the other episodes with guests. But there's just things happening, and I'm like, I have a lot to say about this, and it can't be in a 1-minute TikTok, you know? It can't be in a 15-second reel. So I am going to keep watching her season, and maybe have some other batch people on. I'm like dying to have Serena Pitt on the pod. We had Joe on, so maybe we'll have her on soon as well. And just, you know, talk some batch stuff, because listen, guys, we want an engagement. We want the love. The podcast is about the love and learning. So, yeah. We'll talk more about that, but excited for her season. We will go more into depth about that as it goes on, and I'll give you guys my hot takes on things. But the hot take from the first episode, the makeout was hot. Excited to see what happens. Some of the guys came off like they're there for the boys, and I'm always like, ugh. I'm always icked out from that, but whatever. It is what it is. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to talk about, and I need to talk about, because it has been burning. It's just consumed so much of my time. I was just like, wow, while I was away, this was consuming my time before I left. The Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. I have to give my hot take. I have to give my read the room. I have to say my piece on this, because wow, it's something that everyone was talking about. I've explained it to multiple friends who were like, wait, what's happening? So in a nutshell, I just have to say what happened between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I'm going to go on a different wavelength. I'm going to go on the astrology side. And I think it could be like someone could write their dissertation on this. I'm kidding. But Drake is a Scorpio man, and Kendrick Lamar is a Gemini. And as someone who has dated many Geminis and Scorpio men, it could not be more of an annihilation from Kendrick's part. I think Scorpio men are very powerful, as Drake is. He is. But I think Kendrick Lamar and other Gemini men, there's a deep-rooted confliction that these people have, because, you know, they say there's two sides of them. So you're not just getting, it's almost like an unfair fight, because you're one man, Scorpio man, Drake, versus two people who fight each other all day internally. So you have two people coming for you. Wow. Another person who I just would not mess with in the music industry is Kanye West. And we're talking about music here. Another Gemini man. It is a thing. So when they have a target, you got 2 against 1. And so that's my reasoning of why it was such a diabolical annihilation from Kendrick to Drake. Now, do I like Drake? Obviously. I love Drake's music. Jungle is one of my favorite songs by Drake. I know it's very hard to have a favorite song by Drake. It's very hard. But Jungle probably is my favorite song by him. It is not a, rap song. It is a song about love, about a woman. And we love that. But Drake is from Canada. I will say there's a lot of things that people from other countries like Canada, even though it's so close to the US, growing up as a black man in America, and I have 3 brothers and a father, growing up as a black man in America, there are just things that Black men in America deal with that no one else deals with. And even as a Black woman, I can see it. I still don't know what it feels like. So although Drake obviously is Black, growing up in America, there are things that you deal with that no one else deals with. So I think there was a lot of political, economical things that Kendrick was talking about that went over a lot of people's head as far as like just the rap of it all. And I watched all of it, the movement behind it, gangs. Like if you didn't grow up in LA, New York, Chicago, I grew up in Chicago, I know all about gangs and what that looks like, and how a lot of Black men, especially who grow up in the quote unquote hood, feel like, oh, I had to either join a gang or sell drugs or both in order to survive where I live. I don't know that Drake from Degrassi had to have those types of choices, and so there's just a level of like depth in understanding from certain people who are from certain places that, it's not his fault that he doesn't understand it, but you can't pretend to understand something that you've never, that you don't understand. I can go and hear someone talk to me in Mandarin. I don't understand it. They could be saying the same exact thing. I don't understand it. So it's a different life language that Black men in America have to deal with, in my opinion, than anyone else because of the history of this country. So it's deep. It was really intense. I mouth on the floor for a lot of the things that happened. I think Kendrick Lamar is a genius. I think that he's also, again, I'm going to take it back to astrology. It's 2 against 1. Drake, in my opinion, did not have a chance. But, people are like, Drake won, all this back and forth. And it was great. I wonder what you guys thought about it, because I was on my tippy toes the whole time looking at all the things that was happening. Now, do we think that Drake comes out with the album and we don't listen to it? Drake is going to come out with the album and we are going to listen to it. And amazing and great. And like, that's it. Like, I don't know what to say. But I'm sure it gave him and a lot of other people things to think about. And Kendrick, we love you. I am and have always been a Kendrick fan. I am not a bandwagon Kendrick fan. I have always been a Kendrick fan. I think he's amazing. I think he is a poet. And I think Drake is an amazing entertainer, and there's a reason why he's on top. He's so consistent. He's more consistent than a lot of people as far as music goes. All the family stuff that they were talking about, the back and forth with all that got a little crazy for me, got a little bit too much for me. But for speaking just about the music, Kendrick, we're ready for the album. And now, Rihanna has always been my dream guest. And she still is. Rihanna, you're number one. You're my number one. We're going to have you on Hidden Gems one day. But now Kendrick's number 2. Kendrick, come on my podcast. Kendrick Lamar did an interview with Rick Rubin, and you can find it on YouTube. Fantastic interview between the two of them. Rick Rubin, we love you. We love you too. So thanks for listening to Hidden Gems with me, your host, Natasha Parker. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps grow our budding community. Follow me on IG at Natasha Parker and the show at Gems with Natasha. Hidden Gems with Natasha Parker is produced by Gotham Production Studios.